Hello Gontroller and welcome back to another tutorial. This time I'm covering ban appeals and reports and how you guys can make them. This is partly to help out Skegs and everyone else who does ban reports, because a lot of the time they can be quite difficult to go through, as sometimes people don't follow the guidelines. Firstly, I'm going to cover the ban reports and how you can make them. So to find this section on the forums, simply go to the forums tab and then scroll down and you'll be able to find it. Now before I do anything on this part, I'm going to tell you what the guidelines are and summarise them a bit so it's easier for you guys to understand and get through quickly. Number 1 on the list of the guidelines is you should not put music in your report. Whoever's going through the reports at the time will often have music playing, so then they can have an easier time of doing it. And you guys having music puts us through the extra effort of having to go and click your mute button. I know it sounds pathetic, but if you want to get on the good side of the report, every little helps. Number 2, if your evidence is a video or any sort of recording, you should always give accurate times as to when the hacking started. This is particularly important if you're using a video which is several minutes long, as it takes a lot of time for us to go through this many reports. This will not only make it easier for the person handling the reports, but it will also let us get through them quicker. Number 3, do not give vague evidence which cannot provide solid proof. We're not going to go out of our own way to spend our time trying to find specific details that could take us hours to do. If you don't have solid evidence, just don't post it. Simple as that. Number 4, make sure your evidence is valid proof for what you're reporting them for. Basically, what I mean when I say this is don't provide pictures as evidence for things such as sprint hacking, force field, or any of that, because that just won't prove anything. For those types of reports, you will need video evidence. Number 5, do not spam us constantly with PMs on the forums or in games to look at your report. We will handle all the reports in chronological order with regards to when they were made. The only time that you should ever PM us about looking at a report is if it's extremely important, which is very rare, so please refrain from doing so. This also applies for ban appeals, so please do not spam us about those either. Number 6, no flame wars. They simply just block out all the useful replies and information that people could be providing, and just make it more difficult for us in general. Number 7, don't bother bumping your thread, because we sort them out in order of start date and not the most recent reply, so bumping your thread does absolutely nothing. Number 8, if you're going to report something that's in a specific location on the map, make sure you supply coordinates. This applies for things such as AFK machines, where we need specific coordinates so that we can TP to them, check them out and remove them. Number 9, do not post reports for demotion of any member of staff. The public ban reports section is not the right place for such a sensitive matter. Instead, create a group message for Bessel, Skegs and any other members of staff that you wish to be involved in the discussion. Lastly, finishing off the guidelines, if your report is over a week old, please specify both the time in the video and the date on which the evidence was taken. This makes it a lot easier for us because we're not going to go through week-old logs in order to find a sliver of data which might not prove anything. So now that I've explained the guidelines to you guys, I'm going to show you guys how to make a report and give you an example of what not to do. So if you head back to the ban report section of the forums, you will find a link that says click here to submit a ban report. Go ahead and click this link and it will open up a form which you can fill out to file your ban report. The first box is pretty easy, just go ahead and put your in-game name into the box. In the second line, put the in-game name of the person that you are reporting for hacking or breaking rules. For the next part, give a short and concise reason as to what you're reporting them for. Try to refrain from writing a large section of backstory which could be considered unnecessary. For the evidence box, simply paste the relevant links for the evidence. These are usually links to the screenshots or videos. This last section mainly applies to videos where you can write the time in which the rule breaking starts on the video. And there you have it, that's all you need for a simple and effective report. Now for what not to do. Surprisingly enough, most people get the first section right, so there's not much for me to say on that part. Again, the second section is not too difficult as it's just their name, but for the reason, this is where sometimes people can get a bit stupid. Don't create any reports that are just silly little claims that aren't actually against the rules. Unfortunately, people can upset you without breaking the rules, so don't let that anger you into making a false report. For the evidence, make sure you actually have solid proof that you can provide in this section. Don't make random claims that something could be in the logs, because we're not going to check it unless you provide solid proof. This is probably one of the most stupid reports you could ever make, so try and stay out of this area. If you head up back to the report section, you will be able to see all of the current reports that have not yet been checked. Feel free to give your feedback on whether or not you think they're hacking and provide any extra evidence for these. The top 2 links in this page will also show you the accepted and rejected reports where you can check whether or not a report has been good enough to get the player punished. And that pretty much covers it for ban reports. Now I'm going to talk to you guys about ban appeals. Finding the ban appeal section is fairly similar to finding the ban reports. Go to the forums tab and if you scroll down then it's right next to where ban reports was. Once again, you'll notice that the top thread has been stickied and is the guidelines. Similar to last time, I'm going to paraphrase these and make them easier for you guys to read. Firstly, before you make a ban appeal, you must make sure that you fit the criteria in order to be unbanned. If your ban length is permanent, you must have made sure to have served at least 3 months before submitting your ban appeal. This is counted from the ban date on the account that you're appealing for. Temporary bans lasting under a week cannot be applied for and must be waited out. If you ban evade and then re-offend on a new account, you are not eligible to appeal. What this means is if you break the rules on a new account whilst banned, then you will definitely not be allowed to appeal. Any player evading a permanent ban will not be eligible for an appeal. So if you've been banned permanently, do not try and evade on a new account. The last set of criteria states that you cannot be unbanned for any of the following: duping, so attempting to duplicate items; chargebacks, so attempting to charge back via PayPal on any donations that you've made; macroing, so using a program to automatically do in-game tasks; and phishing, spelt with PH, which is attempting to get other people's sensitive information. Now that you guys know the criteria, if you head back up to the ban appeal section, then you can find a link that says click here to submit a ban appeal, which is pretty similar to the ban reports. Go ahead and click that link and it'll show you another form just like the ban reports again. The top 3 sections are pretty simple. Just put your Minecraft username, the message that you get when you disconnect, and when you are banned. It's the last section which is the most important. Now you have to understand that we don't want your life story or your Minecraft career or any of that. This is instead where you prove to everyone else on Gontroller as well as the staff that you've changed and you're no longer going to be a burden on the community. Just show that you're a better person and we'll happily welcome you back. Now when we say we don't want your life story, I don't mean write one sentence saying please unban me. All I'm saying is that we don't need 5 pages long explaining how you were brought up in a hard life, which then led to you getting banned. As you can see in this person's appeal, he only wrote 1 paragraph and he still managed to get unbanned. However, this guy only put 1 line and so he didn't get unbanned. Also, it doesn't make any sense, so please try and make sure your appeals make sense. Now that I've covered that, if we head back up to the ban appeals section, then you'll be able to see all the current ban appeals which haven't been checked yet, similar to the ban reports. However, this time, only members of staff can reply to each appeal, so unfortunately you guys cannot reply with your input to each appeal. But once again, at the top of the ban appeals section, you can see both the accepted appeals and rejected appeals to see who's been unbanned and who's been denied. And on that note, I think I'm pretty much done here, so thank you guys for watching. Hopefully it helped you out. If it didn't, then I'm sorry, but if you have any more questions, just go ahead and message me in-game on the forums or on YouTube. Go ahead and leave some feedback in the comment section below, like and subscribe. And that's it guys, see you next time.